Hello, everyone. Our masterclass is live. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Good day. Happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Public Health Professionals Club, and today we're bringing you a very, very lovely masterclass titled Chosen for Chevening. What is Chevening? Chevening is a very, very prestigious global scholarship. And today we have with us a global public health leader, scholar, researcher, doctor, consultant who wears many caps across different public health specialties. An amazing, brilliant, beautiful young woman. I'm sure as the masterclass proceeds, you will definitely benefit from her wealth of experience and exposure in public health and learning from bringing this to So you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, public health professionals, students, and anyone who is coming across this masterclass, either on the live stream or from the replay. So I would like you to welcome with me a very, very wonderful young man, as I previously mentioned, is a global health consultant, public health doctor. She's a researcher and also a Chevening scholar. Welcome with me, Dr. Cassandra Inde. Dr. Cassandra, you're welcome to this masterclass. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm very grateful for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you more. So, as we start the masterclass, I'll be introducing Dr. Akinde by reading her profile. And before I start that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Udukemi Olubadu. and I'm the curator of the Public Health Professionals Hub. The Public Health Professionals Hub is a community of public health professionals, different specialties, medical doctors, epidemiologists, laboratory scientists, dentists, doctors, physiotherapists, and basic medical sciences, basic physiology, and every health-related basic science. Also in our community, we have public health students, and those who are public health students. And the community will share different opportunities, seminars, webinars, courses, and job opportunities, both local within our country, Nigeria, regional in Africa, and global across different continents. So in our community, we position public health professionals and students for global opportunities. Chevening scholarship is a global opportunity. And today we have a scholar who is pushing the journey so far. Dr. Cassandra Akinde, the Global Health and Research Consultant, dedicated to strengthening health systems and improving population health outcomes, particularly for women and children in underserved communities worldwide. With over 8 years of international experience, she specializes in community engagement, public health research, and designing evidence-driven programs that promote health equity and expand healthcare access. She focuses on vulnerable populations, particularly children, women, and people with disabilities in underserved Nigerian communities. Also an writer, having produced over 60 technical reports with training resources, journal articles, blogs, and educational videos for diverse audiences, including non-profit, schools, journals, academics, and government organizations. Dr. Akinde holds a bachelor's degree in medicine and surgery from the University of Lagos, a master's in tropical medicine and international health from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, a globally recognized high-ranking health institution, and most recently, MD at the London School of Business Technology in the US. As the co-founder of the Neo Child Initiative for Africa, Dr. Akinde has spearheaded over 20 community health programs addressing WASH, nutrition, deworming, malaria, and vaccine-preventable diseases, positively impacting over 40,000 children across Nigeria. Her efforts have secured over $50,000 in grant funding through partnerships with organizations like Alive and Thrive, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the British Council, Apollo Medical, and the Royal Medicine Institute. Her impactful work with organizations like the Neo Child Initiative for Africa, and the World has earned her numerous humanitarian awards, including the Chevening Scholarship, the Award for Prize for Health Wellness, the UK Alumni Award for Social Action, and the Early Career Research Grant from the National Society for Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, and the National Institute for Health and Care Research, and most recently, the Bridge for Billions Research all-rounder engagement. Driven by a passion for health equity, Dr. Akinde is committed to using research, innovation, and health policy advocacy to address health disparities where fluent in English, Spanish, and Russian, with growing proficiency in French and German. Dr. Akinde brings a global perspective, clinical collaborative approach to driving impactful health solutions across research, strategic partnerships, and policy advocacy. Her professional journey has been marked by impactful collaboration with organizations such as Save the Children UK, the Rotary Foundation, the Neo Child Initiative for Africa, and these experiences have not only deepened her commitment to global health and social equity, but also earned her a series of prestigious recognition. She's a recipient of the British Chevening Scholarship, awarded by the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office for Advancing Global Leadership. Her influence and advocacy quite ends the debate about the changes in inspiring women in Nigeria and Latin Africa, and in 2022 she received the Digital Africa Award Prize for Health Development, celebrating her contributions to public health education. Welcome with me, Dr. Cassandra Atunde, and a very high achieving global health researcher and both and you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you so much.
yes, your achievements are very impressive and inspiring. I believe our viewers are already inspired and eager to hear from you. So we'll go
Thank
straight right into the question.
sorry, Dr. Lukemi. Before we start, I'm seeing some comments here from Mercy. She said that the music
Okay.
is interfering with the sound. So I don't know if
Okay.
there's any way we can reduce the sound or maybe put
Yes.
the computer so that our conversations can be heard. Thank you so much.
Yes. So thank you for that feedback. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we go straight right into the interview. And our first question is, Dr. Akide, how did you hear about the Chevening scholarship? Can you tell us your exposure towards the scholarship, especially for those who are hearing about Chevening for the very first time? How did you hear about
Um,
the Chevening scholarship, and what is the Chevening scholarship? Thank
okay. Thank you for that. So Chevening scholarship, basically it's a merit-based scholarship that is offered by the foreign foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, by the British government. And so that's what Chevening scholarship is about. So it's more about merit based. So they are looking at potential leaders. Okay, so if you're a potential leader, know that that scholarship is definitely for you. So
you.
I heard about Chevening actually through word of mouth. I had this friend who actually told me about it. So at that point in time, I've just finished medical school, and I was doing my internship. And then he told me that, that he had seen some of my volunteering activities with the New Child Initiative for Africa, and that he feels that I will be a very good Chevening material. And so when he told me that, I was like, so what is he talking about? I've never heard about Chevening. What is Chevening? Right. And so I Googled, and then I saw that, Chevening is a fully funded scholarship that is offered by the UK government. And then I was like, oh, interesting. So it's like Commonwealth, because I've heard about Commonwealth, but I haven't heard about Chevening. And so then I knew that, okay, I think this scholarship looks like it aligns towards my professional experiences and towards my work. And so that's how I heard about you.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So aside the exposure to Chevening, can you tell us a bit about what the application entails? What are the requirements? What does an applicant need to do to access the application?
I didn't hear that question. Can you repeat it? I don't know if it is my network.
Okay. So I asked that, thank you for introducing Chevening to us. And now ask that what does the application actually entail for someone who is interested in applying for this prestigious scholarship that is fully funded? What do they need to do? And how do they need to go
Oh,
about
oh, okay, okay. Okay, well, first things first, I mean, first of all, you need to identify if this is the scholarship for you because like I mentioned earlier, it's important for you to look at yourself, know what your strengths are. And in my case, for example, it was more about leadership. So academics wasn't my strongest suit. It was more about leadership, volunteering, community service. And so that's the reason why for Commonwealth, I didn't want to apply for those type of scholarships because I knew that they were more about academic merit, although they also had some bits about leadership. But I felt Chevening specifically was it, and that's because immediately I heard about it, I went to the website and I started reading eligibility criteria. And once I looked at the eligibility criteria, which if I remember correctly, it had to do mostly with okay, first of all, you must be a citizen of a particular country, right? So that means because there are certain countries that do not are not eligible for Chevening scholarship. So you need to know which which countries actually are eligible. So once I saw that, oh, okay, my country is eligible, then I knew that yes, I can apply to it. And then there were some other things as well. For example, your work experience, right? I saw that yes, I have up to 2 years of work experience. I mean, at that time, if because I don't know if you know, but right now there's some new changes to the scholarship. So then it was 2 years of work experience. So it could be your undergraduate, so maybe you're just volunteering and then post. But now they made it very clear that it has to be after you graduate, right? After you graduate, you need to have at least 2 years of work experience. So that's the difference. So you need to look at the eligibility criteria very carefully. So I had that. And then, of course, you need to have an undergraduate degree. So Chevening is not for undergraduate, it's for postgraduate. So you need to have your bachelor's or any other educational qualification, even including if you finish from School of Technology as well, because it doesn't have to be exactly university. It also can be from other educational qualifications, but of course, backed with experience. If you have that, then definitely that. And then, of course, there were some other aspects, like, for example, you will be ineligible if you are related to the British government, or you have a relative or something of that nature. So you need to read the eligibility criteria very carefully before deciding that, yes, this is the scholarship I want to apply to. So after you have done that, then you now look at the application form. So in terms of what the application form entails, if I remember correctly, it contains about say like 10 sections. So it's not just write your essays and go. No, it has a lot of sections, and you need to ensure that you fill all those sections. Like, of course, for example, your personal details, your contact details, your education, right? Um, your work experience, your depending on depending on the school, because sometimes they might even ask you to provide English language qualification. So that depends on also your home country. But I know that for Nigeria right now it's not required. But for your school, it depending on the school you're applying. Maybe like if you're applying for University of Oxford, my school, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, you will need to provide English language qualification, and so most likely it has to be IELTS. Okay, then also you need to provide information about your proposed studies. So, for example, if you have read through the eligibility criteria and you think this is the scholarship for you, you now need to know that okay, it means that you have to also be applying to universities, right, with the preferred course of choice. And so you need to when you're writing your application, you need to write what's your primary university choice, your secondary, and your tertiary. So you put all that. So those are some of those things. And of course, after all that, you also have your references. That's a very important aspect. That's like, I know people forget about it a lot, but it's also a very vital aspect of your application. And then, of course, the one that majority of people always talk about, the essay questions, which is mostly about your leadership, your networking, your study in the UK, and then your career plan. So those are the things. And then, of course, there has to be application declaration that, oh, you are not affiliated, and that, yes, you are eligible in terms of citizenship, and that most importantly, you intend to come back to Nigeria. So again, when you are reading the eligibility, you know that one of the most important criteria there is, they will tell you that you must be ready to go back to your home country after you conclude your masters and stay there for at least 2 years. So if you know you cannot do that, then you know that that's not the scholarship you will apply. So you need to declare that in your application. And then there's also a bit about, if, for example, you already have a master's, you cannot apply for Chevening, because Chevening is for people who don't have any masters. So do not apply for that. So there is a part there as well. And then there are questions about immigration, like if you have traveled before, if you have a valid passport, um, if have you ever been convicted, all those things. And it's important that you take note of all those things, because I have been privileged to actually review some essays, and I can tell you, and some essays and some applications. And it was so interesting for me to see that sometimes, because you are rushing, right? Those places when you're supposed to say no, you're saying yes because you didn't take time to
Wow.
read the question. So they ask you, have
Wow.
you
So
been
we have
convicted?
to pay
You say yes.
attention to detail.
I mean, and you've never been convicted, and then you put yes. So of course, once the pre screening starts, your application will be just tossed out, because you already failed the pre-application stage because of those important questions. So that's basically
Hmm.
what the whole application entails.
And feel awesome. Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Kinde. So you said now that the application requires that one pays attention to detail, and then one must fill correctly all the sections. And then it's also very important to review the eligibility criteria. So that means that for people who want to jackpot, I mean, people who want to relocate or want to probably move to another country, this might not be for them because there are requirements that, ensure one's commitment to returning to their country to go and invest back everything that they learned and every
Mhm.
competence that they gathered. So that is awesome. So Chevening is about social development, apparently, and also um, adding value to one's country. Thank you so much for
Exactly.
that. So I would like to ask, based on everything that you have shared with us so far, this seems to be something very, on the high end, like a very high end, high level, application and program. So what made your application stand out? What do you think were the extra things that you did that made you an outstanding candidate?
Hmm. Thank you for that question. So I will say that what made my, like, looking back, when I think about my application, what made it stand out is that, so first of all, I want to mention that I didn't get Chevening scholarship on my first try. I actually got it on my second try, and it was actually a very good thing, because
Mm,
the first time I applied, I did what everybody does, which is you rush quickly, you don't you don't pay attention to small details, right? You just want to quickly submit because, yeah, you're so excited. You don't take time to read as much as you should, and then
mm.
you don't get in, and you wonder what happened. So I actually spent almost a year preparing for the next
Wow.
application cycle. And so I now had to pay serious attention to details. I absorbed the whole Chevening website. I looked at the frequently asked questions. I read some profiles, Chevening bios of certain alumni in Nigeria and other countries as well, just to get a bit more exposure to what exactly are they looking for, right? So I was doing a lot of those preps. I also had the opportunity to speak to some of the alumni as well, just to understand, about their own experience in terms of the application and all. Excuse me, hold on, sorry.
Okay. Our speaker will be right back. Communication. Thank you.
Okay, hi, sorry. There was
No
some
problem.
background noise, so I had to quickly take care of that.
Okay.
So where was I? I was talking about prep, right? So yes, I had to prepare properly. And so I created a checklist, right? So you know that, okay, in this your checklist, you know that you have done this, you have done that, right? So for example, in my case, I ensured that all my references were adequate. I got my international passport. I had my English proficiency test ready, right? I have um spoken to some Chevening alumni. All those, so the checklist is related to you. So it was more like I just created my own checklist, but I just wanted to ensure that there was nothing missing from my application and from my application process that I have come up with. And so after I have done all that, then I started writing my essays, and I made sure, because writing is not my strongest suit, right? So I came from
Mm,
medical school, so we are not really writers, right? It's not our thing. We have a lot of experience, but we don't know how to put it in words, which I'm sure a lot of
mm,
health professionals can relate. So you just have to learn. So I also had to take some writing courses to be able to tell
wow.
stories, right? And of course,
Mm,
follow the format. Because when I spoke to some of the Chevening alumni, and I also watched a lot of YouTube, right? Because in those YouTube videos, you'll be able to hear from them telling you step by step how to write your essays, how to follow the star approach, and what every aspect should include in your essay. So I started, gathering more info, more intel, and then ensuring that I am translating it into my essays. And so once I've written that, I ensured that I showed it to accountability partners and also Chevening alumni so that they could give their own feedback, because I knew that it was very, very important. But another thing that I think really made it stand out is I also was very authentic, because a lot of times when I attended some
okay.
of the Chevening webinars, they talked about how majority of the essays are generic. So everybody says, maybe, for example, somebody shared, because if you go online now, you see so many essays, sample essays that have won the scholarship. And instead of, some of us to actually just look at the format and structure and just come up with our own experience, we kind of end up copying and pasting. And so it's just the words, it just change some words, but it's still the same thing. So
Mm,
that's not the way to go about it. So I just try to be a bit more authentic, right? And talk about my
okay.
experiences. But of course, ensuring that, if, for example, if you are talking about your leadership, you are using the action verbs that showcase your leadership. If you are talking about your networking, you're also using action verbs that showcase networking, which I'm sure we'll still talk more about that. But just to give you an idea, so I had to really understand those
Yeah.
things and listen carefully, like open your ears very well and open your eyes to things, understand these concepts. And then I was able to write my essay. I applied and I attended my interview, and it was very interesting journey
Seamless.
since then.
Wow. Awesome. 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 Beautiful. So, to our viewers, if you're just joining us, this is Public Health Professionals Hub, and we're having a career masterclass with Dr. Cassandra Akinde. Today, we're talking about the Chevening Scholarship, and you could be the next person with the blue card saying, I've been chosen for Chevening. And the way that can happen, as our guest speaker has said, is that one must invest time, pay attention to detail, start the process early, get information, and make sure that one is very authentic with storytelling. And this concept or idea about storytelling keeps on coming up when it comes to career, when it comes to applications for scholarships, applications for jobs, even during interviews. So apparently storytelling is a skill everyone must develop and have. Thank you so much for that. It's so fascinating.
You're
So I would
welcome.
like to ask, during the application process, did you experience any challenges? Um, if yes, what were they and how did you overcome
Yeah, certainly. Since, for example, I mentioned that it was my second try. So one of those challenges will be you'll be wondering that okay, you applied before. Should you really apply because you didn't
it?
get it the first time, right? But because I did some self introspection and I realized that this has nothing to do with the scholarship. It has something to do with me. So I
Mm,
have to be the one understanding that I didn't do well, right? I rushed, too quickly. I didn't do adequate research about the scholarship. I didn't even have an offer from a university, or at least have certain, universities that you have really done research about them and that you feel, okay, this is the course that you want to do. So you actually go and do more in-depth research on each of those universities to see that, okay, this course that I want to do really aligns with my future career plan, right? So I was just
okay.
like choosing it. So definitely I knew that yes, this was an issue. Because sometimes you have this like maybe insecurity. Oh, if you apply, what about if you fail? What's going to happen? If nobody likes to face failure. But I just knew that see, if this is for me, if I do everything right, I think I will get this. So I had to have a lot of conversations with myself, a lot of prayer as well, and speak with other people to keep encouraging me that you can do this. You just need to put in the work and you need to have a positive attitude. Because someone like me, I'm not really an optimistic person. I've always been a bit of pessimistic. So I always, prepare for the worst. But for this particular time, I had to start, being more positive minded and knowing that okay, once you do the work, once you do everything you need to do, you'll definitely succeed. And so it was those type of challenges, and of course also the fact that there was an interview, and at that time I have never. Are we still together? Because I don't see my other presenter anymore. Don't know if we are still together. Dr. Kemi, are you there? Should I just continue? Okay. I think I'll just continue speaking. So I was talking about interviews. So the challenge I had was that at that point I've never had an interview before. And so knowing that I have to prepare for the most competitive interview in the world at that point was very challenging for me. But with lots of, motivational talks, um, family confidence boosts and prayers, I was able to, and of course lots of prayer practice. I had to practice a lot to be able to actually give myself the confidence to face my fear, which was the interview. So I definitely had to proceed with that. So those were some of the challenges that I faced, and that's how I addressed them. Okay, so I think Dr. Kemi is coming back. I think she's having some network.
Yes, I'm back. Apologies for
Okay.
that. It
I was
was
I was
short.
confused. I was like, oh my god, are we together? Because I don't know if
Yes,
you
but
can
still
hear
here,
me or not.
still live. Still here, still live.
Uh,
And yeah, I believe you can hear me loud and clear.
yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So as you were saying, you were giving us
a rundown of how you were able to, you know, out of the place of self awareness, reflect on your previous application, and then what you did to ensure that the next one was very successful. Okay. So
Yeah.
after one submits the application, right? There's an interview, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay. So how did that go? And then the interval between, the application and the interview, what was the waiting period like? And then
Hmm.
after the good news came, how did the interview go? Please tell
Okay.
us about that. Thank you.
Okay. So, once you have decided that okay, you want to apply for Chevening, you need to make sure that you look at the website. You will see that they have a Chevening timeline of events.
Okay.
So you know that okay, you apply around August, then the application cycle will close around say October, right?
Okay.
And then between
Wow.
November
Okay. So
to
so so that
March,
means applicants should be mindful of the deadline, which is next month now, for those who are applying for this cycle.
yes, yes,
Oh wow.
definitely. So, like I mentioned earlier,
Okay.
all the information is there. So, October
Okay.
7 is the deadline for this year's Chevening cycle. So, if you have
Wow.
not, by now, if you have not written your essays and have already peer reviewed with someone, I don't know what to tell you because, like I said, you need to be prepared. You need to be intentional about your application. This is a very
Okay.
competitive. Every year, it's even getting more competitive, especially in Nigeria
Wow.
with so many
Wow.
people,
Applicants.
right? So yeah, so you definitely have to be very intentional. You have to be, at this point, I don't expect that you want to just start preparing your application. No. By now you should
Yeah,
have
so that
already
means this masterclass will be very helpful for those who are looking at the next application cycle, getting all the information ahead and
yes.
getting what they need to know, okay, about it.
Yes, exactly. And maybe some
Right.
that maybe have already gotten to they have written their essays and they've already shown it to someone, they've gotten feedback, and so basically they're currently just rewriting, right,
Okay.
to make it much more concise. Because right now, like I mentioned earlier, this year specifically, for the past few years, it has always been the same. But this year
Mm,
specifically, we've made very serious changes to the Tribune application, specifically in terms
okay.
of word count and also in terms of
Okay.
the questions, because the Tribune questions were
Okay.
always the same. But now they've made some
Okay.
changes to make it more concise. And so you need to also follow that instruction because also it might be
Instruction.
possible that maybe you have applied before, maybe last year
Mm,
or the year before. So you think that because you remember how it was, you just know. You need to read the questions, read the instructions, and
mm,
understand what it is they're asking you this time around.
yes. So something so the application tests quite a number of skills, being
Hmm.
focused, being organized, being mindful of time, ensuring that once adheres to it, deadlines you
Very,
know
very
and
important because this is just
instructions.
basic things that they expect you to follow. If you cannot
Yes.
submit on time, or because I have also seen cases when you don't meet the deadline and then some people send emails to the achievement officers that please I there's maybe light situation which of course is understandable, or maybe there's an intense situation which is understandable, but the fact is that you should have thought about it before. You know
Mm,
that okay, the application opens in August and it ends in October, sometimes even in
mm,
November. So it's a very long
mm.
application cycle. And you mean that you
Okay.
waited till the last day to submit? No, no, no. It's not acceptable. It means you are
Wow.
not ready in the first instance. Yeah, I know I might sound strict, but that's the fact.
Yeah, that's what, going through those kind of experiences, it makes you very firm, and very time conscious, and also very, your standards are high. Essentially, your standards are very high. Yes.
Very, very
So,
high. Exactly.
yes, for something that's prestigious, global, and, competitive, the standards must definitely be high,
Very competitive. It's one
so
percentage, one percentage that gets it. To very
wow.
competitive. Every year is even getting more. I mean, Nigeria is always has always the highest number of applications. I think
Applicants.
last year, yeah, last year was about almost 20,000, like maybe 18,000 or so, just
Wow.
from Nigeria alone. Yeah, like when you go to
Alone.
the Kenya website again, you will be seeing their data. They will tell you every year, they will be showing you which country you're from and how many applications in that particular cycle. So you will see that yes, Nigeria is one of the highest.
Yeah, we're talented. We have a lot of skilled talents, and so I'm not surprised. We're truly
Mm,
the giants
yeah.
of Africa.
Africa,
Even with our
exactly.
talent and our young people, our youth and our professionals. So that's heartwarming to hear. However, being the top 1% of the top 1% means that one must put exceptional, skills into the application process and then the
Mhm.
contents of the application and then the
Very
interview.
important. You must be
Yes.
best foot forward, like best foot
Mm,
forward all the time.
let's put forward.
But
That's fine.
back to your question that you asked. So
Yes.
it stops. So after the application cycle closes, then there's the
Okay.
pre screening. So that's when I mentioned that if you make any mistake in your application form, from not your essays but the other parts that I mentioned, maybe for example you don't have up to 2 years of work experience, right?
Okay.
You already know that you'll be disqualified through that pre-screening process. So anything like that, pam pam pam, you'll be your application will be tossed out before they even read your essay. So once that goes, then around March, yeah, March, February, March or so, they will now be sending you, if you had gone through, they will send you invitation for interview. And if you didn't go through, they will let you know that, oh, unfortunately, you know, um, you have been, rejected. So you will know that. And so once they invite you for the interview, then you know that okay, it's time for you to prepare for the interview. And so I was talking about earlier that one of the challenges I also had during my application was that as at that time, I have never had an interview. Even as a job, I have never had an interview. And so I had to now start preparing for the most competitive interview in my life. And so I had to really
Wow.
leverage on a lot of resources, especially like okay, how to conduct interviews, how to ensure your body language, how to project your voice, how to be able to speak and tell your story, all those things that of course you'll find on YouTube, but you definitely need to watch those resources and absorb them. So I use the word absorb because it's not just to watch it one time and say, oh, I've learned it. No, you have to watch it several times, take notes, of anything that you see that, oh, you know that you have to apply to yourself, and then practice with someone, right? Somebody needs to observe you because you might be thinking, oh, I'm looking at you in the face when I'm speaking, but actually because you are shy, because I'm someone that is very shy, I'm actually looking, my eyes are not looking at the person's face. My eyes are going somewhere else out of habit. And so they'll tell you, no, you're not looking at me. You have to look at me when you're speaking. And so you just have to like, oh my God, you have to be more conscious, self-conscious, and keep doing it so that somehow it will now become natural to you, even though it wasn't before. You need to make it as a form of a habit. And that's what I had to do. And then they called me for the interview. Of course, I was very, very afraid, right? But I did attend the interview, and interestingly enough, during the interview itself, right? So, because what
Okay.
happens is that your essays are being sent to the review to the people who are going to interview you, the panelists. So they all know who you are and what you do and all that. And so
Mm,
they now have a list of questions that they are going to ask you. And so
okay.
when you now start talking and maybe it doesn't correlate to your essays, somebody will know that what's going on. Weren't you the one who wrote this essays? Why are you saying things that are, don't really make sense? But if you're the one who wrote it, so I obviously wrote my own essay, I was actually able to add more details and
Okay.
talk passionately, explain certain things because they will ask you some certain questions that, oh, you mean you conducted this health outreach? How did you go about mobilization? How did you go about burnout? What did you do when the funds finished? Or how were you able to get more funds? Like questions like this. And so when it's you who did it, right, or you are part of a team, right, you'll be able to actually say it and they'll know that yes, you truly were there and you truly have the passion and you're definitely a potential leader who they know they can invest
Work
in,
with.
and you are going
Yes.
to definitely, come back to your home country and make even more impact. So that's
Mm,
how basically I was able to say what I needed to say. Also ask very, because at the end of the interview, after they ask you the questions, which are usually based on the essays, which is the leadership, networking, study in the UK, and your career plan. After they ask you those questions, they'll ask you, okay, do you have any questions for us? And that's when you have to show that you are curious about the organization, about Chevening. This is not the time to be asking questions like, how much money will I be receiving? Will I be able to travel? Right?
oh goodness.
Yeah, because those questions they will make you think that you are not ready to be a Chevening scholar, right? You need to be asking
Mm,
questions like, what can I do to bring more value to Chevening? So maybe you are
mm,
actually using the question to even, maybe you identify the problem. Maybe for example, when it comes to Chevening, I know some people will say that they still don't know Chevening scholars, they can't access them, so you can actually create some type of a website. I mean, not a website, but at least a directory, so that you know that, okay,
mm.
for this particular field, public health professionals that are Chevening scholars, you know
Of
that, oh,
course.
these are
Of
these are these
course.
are. Or if you're looking for someone
Yeah.
economics, you can see them, or something like that. So you
Mm,
just make some comments like this, or some questions that shows that, oh,
mm.
you are thinking, you want to
These are
to
great
to
tips,
already contribute.
audience. I hope we're listening and taking notes.
You want to contribute to achieving growth and community, right? You're not
Yeah.
just there to take. No, you're actually ready to be valuable assets to them,
Right.
because they're
Yeah.
investing in you, so they need to, have
Yeah.
a return on their positive return
Returns.
on their
Yes.
investment.
On investment.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's when you can now use the opportunity to ask very smart questions. And so after that,
Awesome.
you wait. And so the waiting period is usually the interview is around that March to April. And so the good news always come in June. So I know that
Wow.
for me, I was worried throughout. Like, you'll be doing things, but you always have it at the back of your mind that, oh my God, June, anytime, they will definitely. I know when you're part of a network. I was part of a network where we
Yes.
are all like, okay, speaking. How was our interview? How was this? How was that? And so when the
Mm.
results came, we're like, oh my God, I was chosen. And then some people, they weren't, or maybe they're on reserve, because you can be on reserve too.
Oh,
I'll be like, oh,
okay.
yeah. So that means you did well, but somebody did much better, so you will be on the reserve. So if someone that they chose will not be able to fulfill their conditions of the Chevening scholarship,
Mm.
then you will be upgraded to
The next
becoming a Chevening scholar. So that's how
time.
it works.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
and
so there
then
are actually multiple chances. Yes.
yeah, because sometimes it's very funny. Sometimes some people, again, they rush for this scholarship and they don't even apply for to university on time.
Ah,
And that's why by the time they get the scholarship, they don't have the offer from the university. Unconditional offer,
mm,
not conditional, unconditional offer from the
mm,
university. And if you don't have an unconditional offer from university, and you have this, you can't go. You just,
mm.
lose that
Yes,
spot
because
and
the
you go to someone
admission
more.
and the scholarship goes together.
Goes hand in hand, exactly. So you
Yeah.
have to, and that's why I always say that, when you're preparing, you already have to have it in mind. Okay, which schools do I want to go? You must have done your research, understand the
Mhm.
modules that the course has, right? See how relevant they are to your professional career. Look at the type of societies they have. What type of if you're in public health, what type of research do they do there? What type of professors are
Okay.
teaching there? Right, so that you can
Mhm.
start seeing, oh, I can work with this person, I can work with this person, I can create this, I can create that, based on your um professional interest. So it's
Interest.
very, very
Yes.
important, exactly.
Mm.
So, and then from there, um all other things, of course, get into place. So yeah.
Wow. That's so beautiful. So beautiful to hear. Thank you so much, Dr. Akinde. So, to our viewers, whoever is on the live, and if you're just joining us or if you're watching the replay, this is the Public Health Professionals Hub. We're bringing to you the Career Masterclass chosen for Chevening. I hope from this masterclass and with Dr. Akinde's, very elaborate explanation and insights that we will be hopefully celebrating a Chevening scholar soon from our community. So that is something that we're
Fingers
really looking
crossed.
forward to. The essence of why we're having this session. Yeah. Yes. So, Dr. Kinde, based on the journey, I mean, reflecting on your journey, your Chevening application, and from the feedback you've seen from other scholars, what would you have done differently,
For my application, right?
or was it based on yes, or was everything perfect? You know?
Hmm, that's a very interesting question. So looking back, because I mean, I definitely have some, sometimes I wish I have done certain things differently. I mean, of course, I love the outcome, right? But at the same time,
Yes.
when you look at it, you realize that maybe. So I think and that's why I like what Chevening is doing now, that they are making it 2 years post graduation, that you have to have your work experience. Because I think one of the things that I wish I had done, because I did what a lot of people do. You finish university, you just do maybe your internship, your NY, and you immediately you apply. So you don't exactly have enough
Mm,
work experience. So I wish that I had gained a bit more work experience, especially in the public health sector, because I think that will have
okay.
helped me. Because one of the challenges I had when I was doing my masters is that, first of all,
Research.
I was one of the youngest in my class, but still,
Wow.
the other people that were a bit, closer to my age, they already had a lot of experience, right?
With
And
research, I believe.
in research, exactly, and even in public health as well. So I
Can
will always be
imagine.
like, oh my god,
Okay.
like it was a bit difficult for me to really, because I had to do a lot of reading, I had to read a lot of case studies
Mm,
to be able to
mm,
understand certain things. It was now after I came back to Nigeria, I started working in the public health space, I started
mm,
conducting research, more robust research, that I was now understanding some of those concepts that they taught me initially and during my
wow.
master. So I was now feeling bad that how I wish I had a bit more work experience. Maybe that way
Mm,
it would have been much more robust experience for me, rather than
practical. Yeah.
just trying
Yeah,
to
it wouldn't have been theoretical. It would have been more practical because you had been on the field,
Mhm.
right? Doing the public health work, you would have been on the field, and then what they were now saying in class would have now been the academic side that gives you the basic principles.
Yeah, exactly. So I just knew that that was an issue. Although thankfully,
Mm,
of course, because I had to now have extra, I had to take extra courses. I had to do a lot
okay.
of reading, things that I mean, time that I could have spent, maybe doing other extracurricular activities. But I had to spend more time on academic activities, trying to, because you have
Uh,
to, as a scholar too, there's a lot of pressure
yeah.
for you to perform well academically. You can't
Well,
be a
yeah.
chipping scholar and go and just get a pass mark. You have to, I mean, have good marks because you're a chipping scholar.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
So you
to
need
whom
to
much is
perform.
given, much is expected.
Exactly, exactly. So it was one of those
Yeah.
challenges. So that's what I wish I had. But for now, that's why right now I'm very happy with what Chibni did, is that they want a bit more work experience, at least 2 years work experience. And I think it's perfect.
Yes. And these are some of the career tips that we share in the Public Health Professionals Hub about how people can get work experience, because there's a framework we work with in the hub, in the community, where we talk about, the fact that there are so many ways to leverage in public health. You can work with, you can leverage on your education, your exposure, your experience, your expertise, and then documenting your journey so far. So,
Mm.
and all that together gives you excellence. Okay. So
Mm-hmm,
yeah, so
mm-hmm,
yeah, so we're very big on people getting experience, and that's why we share a lot of opportunities,
mm.
to young professionals and students. And like one of the posts I made recently on LinkedIn, that you can even start gaining experience as a student. So you don't have to wait till you graduate before
Yeah,
you get
definitely.
experience. So, an experience and exposure very important in public health because those are the things you leverage on for this opportunity, these scholarships and fellowships. You need
Yeah.
to show some experience, and if you are interested in some of the services that we offer in the community, you can send me a message, a DM on LinkedIn, and we can take it from there. So,
Mm.
our final
Wait,
question
sorry,
to you,
sorry,
Dr.
sorry, sorry. Just before you move, I just wanted to add a point. So
Okay,
I completely agree that as a medical, because even as a student, I did a lot of volunteering. So I
okay,
did gather some experience. However, and this is just I'm just telling like upcoming
yeah,
um health professionals that it's also nice if you can get to volunteer maybe in a structured establishment, right? Well, because
okay,
it's great for you if maybe you are the one that started an NGO yourself and all, but you know that
mm,
it's not well structured. So if you want to really understand how NGO works, for example, it'd be nice for you to maybe do an internship or volunteer with a well-established NGO just to gather
okay,
to gain more experience. So that's what I would
yes,
just say, because one of the things that
yeah,
actually happened for me was that, okay, yes, you are volunteering with an NGO and all that, but there are certain structures that are not yet in place, especially when it comes to maybe like project management, financial
mm,
management, right,
yeah,
procurement, things
yeah,
that will help you in the long run. So it would be nice for you to learn those skills, and also soft skills as well, presentations and all those type of things that will
yeah,
definitely help you in your public health journey. So volunteering is
yeah,
great, but be very strategic about volunteering to
mm,
to gather public health experience.
yes, awesome. Yes, and that's something we do a lot in the community. We share a lot of volunteering opportunities. There are, in fact, the way volunteering is now is so interesting that there are some NGOs that you can volunteer online because there are certain tasks that they will give you that will test your capacity, right? And will build your competence. Like, for example, if the NGO is focused on research and they ask for volunteers or interns, research interns, and then they now give you an assignment and say, do a literature review. Before that assignment, you did not know how to do a literature review, but getting the understanding, getting the exposure, getting the guidance, and being able to do that literature review would definitely be very useful by the time you're supposed to do an application and you need to do research. So, doing the literature review to get the information about your application will be so easy, right?
Easy.
And then, if you're now favored and you get into the program, doing a literature review for a master's or even an advanced degree will now not be a problem because during your volunteering as a research intern, you built that competence. So I hope, for those of us who are watching this, we can see where all the skills and these capacities connect, right? Because it might seem like a burden at the beginning, but in the end, is actually going to be a very major, plus, to your skill set and your to the outcomes of whatever kind of engagement you get into in your career journey. So thank you so much, Dr. Akinde, for talking about that. And
You're
so
welcome.
we're almost coming to the end of this masterclass, and it's been a very interesting one. Thanks to our special guest, Dr. Cassandra Akinde, a Chevening scholar who has shared with us tips and insights into what the Chevening program is, her her experience during the application, and the positive outcome that she got. I'd like to ask you, Dr. Akine, how was it in London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine as a Chevening scholar? What was your experience, after getting your admission into the school and then getting the scholarship and then schooling in the UK and gathering, public health experience from one of the most prestigious public health training institutions in the UK. What was that like? Share your story with us,
Ah,
please.
well, I'll tell you. It was it was a bit scary, but it was also exciting.
Wow.
So scary because immediately
Mm.
you get to the school, you will definitely face imposter syndrome because just like I mentioned earlier, you start having classes and then you appear like you are the dumbest person in the room because you don't understand anything.
Oh my
They ask you
goodness.
questions and everyone is eager to respond, but you don't even know the answer. And then everyone is speaking, they are saying interesting things, and then you realize that you have nothing to contribute because you yourself have not
Wow.
experienced it or have seen that type of case
Mm.
in the first instance. I remember for me, the first time we talked about, because I did masters in tropical medicine and international health, so that's specifically for doctors who are practicing in low and middle income countries. And so there was a bit talk about snake bites, and it was hilarious because I don't know anything about snake bites. I've never even seen a case of snake bites. I don't even know anything, regarding that. So I couldn't even contribute to that discussion. And the questions that some of the professor will ask you will be something like, but we have someone from the African region. So we were two from the African region in my class. So anytime something African based, it is
They would
me and
look
my
at both of
colleague
you.
that
Mm.
they will be um throwing the questions to. And you know how it is, you do ask you question and you'll be like, you can't really answer. So, oh, aren't you from that country? Don't you know that there are a lot of so you start feeling very bad that how come you don't know this? And that's why I mentioned that I wish I had more experience. I wish I had maybe done some more reading. So another thing I would say is maybe you need to definitely, before you go for university, read because you are in the room with
Mm.
very, like, I mean, the best of
Brilliant people.
yeah. So you also
Mm.
want to ensure that you are up to the task. You don't want to go and disgrace yourself. And people will be wondering,
Mm.
isn't this a Chimney scholar? And I ask her a question, she
Mm.
cannot respond to anything, right? So it was a bit
Mm.
scary at the beginning, but exciting in terms of the learnings, right? The type of people I
Mhm.
met, just having conversations with them, especially during lunch, about certain experiences, really opened
Mhm.
my mind to different, possibilities, different methods of conducting certain um, studies or designing certain public health interventions. So I was like, oh wow, you mean this is what you found yourself in this particular setting? Like there were some people in my class who were working with MSF, and they actually worked in Nigeria. And you are
Wow.
from that country, and you're not even aware that, oh, this is the type of things that are happening. But you are very interested, or maybe they didn't work in Nigeria, maybe they worked in other countries in Africa, and they will tell you about their experiences, how they went about this, how they were able to mobilize um, communities, how they were able to address community resistance, especially when it came to introducing a new intervention, how
Yeah.
they had to be innovative, so a lot of those type of experiences that you just learn from someone else, but you can definitely extract some important valuable information that you can apply in your own context. And of course, in terms of skills too, I mean, I gained a lot of superior skills, especially when it came to research, because at that time I came a bit more like, okay, I don't know much about, I mean, I know a bit about research, maybe just conducting surveys, and thanks to my um, undergraduate education, but
Medical
not as
school.
much as,
Yeah.
they did. And so, of course, I
That
learned
level, that international level.
yes, international level, attend all these international conferences as well. And a lot
Yeah.
of times at London School, every week we'll have a renowned global expert coming to talk, just general talk about a certain. And so I always ensure that I will attend, because anytime they are talking about any global health issue, that is where I was absorbing knowledge, since I realized that I don't have enough. So I need to absorb as much as I can, because this is like one
Mm.
once in a lifetime opportunity. And of course, that's
Yeah.
how I was also able to expand my network, right? Because I
Yeah.
knew that, oh, I'm meeting people from different countries in the world that are
Countries,
renowned for
continents.
certain things. Yeah. Maybe someone is an
Yes.
expert in neglected tropical diseases, and my experience is a bit limited. Oh, I would like to speak to you, and a lot of times lots of information, absorbed. And of course, also collaboration. Sometimes I will indicate interest that, oh, I would like to be part of this, and they will now share opportunities with you, and then it is up to you now to follow up and ensure that you you grasp that
Yeah.
opportunity for
Yes.
collaborative research
Yes.
projects
Taking
or any
action.
other. Yeah, exactly. So the experience alone was very nice, I would tell you, and they were very supportive, right? Because even though
Wow.
I had the imposter syndrome, people always try to make me feel that you shouldn't, that you are very smart. They had lots of counselors too that helped you,
Wow.
provided you with mental health support, including the
Support.
fact that, yeah, including the fact that, for example, maybe you're about to write an exam and maybe you feel that you're not prepared, you can actually apply for extenuating circumstances, and that way you would postpone your
Get
exam until you
ready.
feel ready. So that alone made me feel like much, much better. Like, wow, you mean you
Yeah.
can do that? Because I come from
Yeah.
Unilag, Lutz,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, College of Medicine. You will write those exams, even if you're not ready, you will write them. you know, there's nothing like extenuating circumstances. So it was truly a nice experience in terms of networking, in terms of knowledge acquisition. I also volunteered a lot at LSHT, and there were a lot of societies. So there was one for vaccine, there was one for maternal and child health. So I ensured that I volunteered with this organization. I also volunteered with the Royal Society for Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. I was a student ambassador, and that also, you know, opened opportunities to expand my network more and to really have a lot of interesting intellectual conversations as well. And so, yeah, I will not lie to you. It was one of the best. And coupled with the fact that I was a Chevening scholar, I had
Yeah.
opportunities to attend, very exclusive, international events. And there, of course, again, you expand your network. You will be in the rooms where certain decisions are being made, and you'll be like, oh wow, so this is how like a policy is being made. This is how certain decisions are made. You engage with the MPs in London, for example, and talk about at that time, because I was also volunteering with Save the Children. So they talked about the Rohingya crisis that was
Okay.
occurring, and talking about the
At the
children, but
time.
yeah, so which is still ongoing, though, which is unfortunate, but that is how the work is like. You will learn a lot in terms of advocacy, in terms of um, conversations with policy makers, right? And of course, writing letters to them,
Wow. So,
you know, and
okay. So
professional.
writing was a major skill that was developed in that process.
Yes, advocacy toolkits, all that you will definitely learn. But
Wow.
that's also because I wanted to really. So that's
Yes.
I got
Apply
there. I just said
yourself.
I must absorb because I have 1 year exactly. And I need to amass
Mm.
as much knowledge,
All
as
this
much
knowledge.
specific skills, because I'm coming
Yes.
back to Nigeria and I need to ensure that I am able to apply those skills and knowledge.
Everything.
And also share
Yeah.
it too, with my mentees and with
Yes.
my junior colleague and with my peers as well.
You said your peers?
My peers,
Oh,
my peers.
peers. Yes, your peers. Okay, wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. Wow. Okay, so this has been so insightful, eye-opening, and very interesting too. It's like a personal, it's a journey. It's another kind of educational journey, especially one that is outside Nigeria, outside Africa, and being in another setting where a lot of things are different, the educational style, the teaching style.
Very
Yeah,
different, very
yeah.
different. Because when I compare it to the style at Lagos University Teaching Hospital, right? The style that they taught me, I know that okay, that was more like okay, you absorb, like you cram it and you pour it. The way your lecturer wants it is exactly the way you give it, and that's how you pass your courses. However, there they want you to understand. So it's not
Hmm.
about you just cramming. You need to understand the basic concept, and
Understand.
then any type
Yeah.
of question they ask you, you should be able to defend as long as you understand the foundation.
Yes. Okay. And I believe and I see based on your work, I mean that I'm aware of with the different projects, the WASH projects, the Neo Child Initiative, and some of the newer things that you have done. I've seen that a lot of your learnings, at that level, that's international exposure, that global level, you have applied when you after you came back, you applied to what you were doing before, and then you applied to new things, right? And all those new things too have opened doors to other things. So it's been like a chain reaction of, positive wins and back to back achievements. And so with this, your very interesting and inspiring, journey so far, what would be your advice to prospective Chevening applicants? Especially for those who, are very interested in, international education, who will be leaving Nigeria and who have to come back to give back the returns on investment that was given to them. What would you
Mm,
advise them from your experience, from your journey, and from everything you've seen in the Chevening Scholars Program?
hmm. Okay. So I think my advice would be that, I mean, first of all, I think we've already established that, Chevening is very competitive. And so if you have decided that, oh, based on the eligibility criteria, you fulfill it, to the T, and that this is the scholarship for you because it's a merit based, and you know that you meet that merit, then you definitely have to be organized and be very intentional. So it simply means that you need to go and do all your research you can. You need to speak to as many alumni as you can, right? It's not difficult for you to find them. Just type Chevening Scholar or Chevening alumni on X or LinkedIn. You will see them, because I know sometimes people say, oh, I can't find, you know, but it's not true. If you are really intentional about it, you will find. And of course, ensure you reach out to them respectfully, of course,
Mhm.
because also sometimes
Yeah.
you send messages maybe 2 days before the deadline, and you ask them to review your essay. You don't even want to like connect with them, like truly connect, like build a relationship with them, especially if you've identified that, oh, this is somebody that I would like to work with, in the
Yeah.
future, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be very, very strategic about that. So I would say that yes, you need to prepare, you need to be organized, and also, I will say that, and of course, intentional. But I also say that sometimes you can do all these things that I mentioned, and you might not get Chevening scholarship. And so that should not make you think, that you are not worthy. Sometimes it's
Mm.
also the fact that, it can be subjective, especially when it comes to the interview stage, right? And also it can be that it's just not your luck, right? Because anything can happen. I mean, even review, because like I said, I've been privileged to review and all that. So sometimes, when someone is tired, they are reading your essay, it's possible that maybe, somebody
You
has already
missed
annoyed the
something.
reviewer. Yeah, and then
Mm.
they read your essay. And so maybe you have written a very beautiful essay, but it might not, be the person might not see it as you have seen it, and so sometimes certain things don't work out. So don't give up. Do keep trying. I have seen junior scholars who have tried. I mean, like, just recently my friend, Dr. Chioma, Dr. Zobo, everyone knows as Dr. Zobo, right?
We've been
She got
celebrating
the
her.
Chimney, yes, she got the Chimney scholarship, and she actually started the journey right after I started, so I've been mentoring her. But unfortunately, it didn't begin immediately. I mean, she applied for twice, and she didn't get them. And it's on her third try that she finally got it.
Mm.
And
Don't
so
give up.
sometimes, yeah, so, because I also met amazing people that, are even better than me, right? And yet they haven't gotten Chevening scholarship. And I also be wondering how, because you're so good. But what I do know is that they got another scholarship. And so
Mm.
sometimes it's not like I'm
Mm.
trying to like say it, but shifting is not exactly for everybody. But you will definitely find, if you are really determined to get international education, right? Always have a backup plan. Please do not just put all your eggs in one basket, right? Ensure that you apply
Mm.
for other opportunities, right? There are lots
Yeah.
of scholarship opportunities. Chevening is not the only one. If you also apply to
Mm,
universities, you also see that if you even
yes.
discuss with them, you'll be able to see that, oh, there are some hidden scholarships, like internal scholarship. Like, for example, my school, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, they have a lot of internal scholarships, right? That if you
Wow.
apply and you are good, you will get them. I know a lot of people that have been
Awesome.
getting these scholarships, and I'm always happy
Yes.
to see that. But of course, it is competitive, but it is possible. And if it is possible for them, it's definitely possible for you. So my advice is that please don't take it, to heart if you apply for
Mm,
Chevening and you don't get it, or say, oh, that's the end. No, try again, and
mm.
also
Keep at it.
try to
Don't
expand
give
your
up.
horizon to apply for other scholarships. MasterCard is there, Erasmus Mundus is there,
Commonwealth.
Commonwealth is
Mm,
there, right?
mm.
There is also even the local ones as well. I mean, they have
Yeah.
a lot. Like this organization, the Age A AIG, they actually sponsor people to go to University of Oxford to study public policy. So if
Yes,
you are
the
not even into
Black
public, so
Academic School of Government. Yes, public
yeah,
policy. If you're interested in
exactly.
public policy, yeah.
And if you're not even interested in public health, you're interested in something else as well. There's
Oh,
like maybe entrepreneurship. You can just do masters
yeah.
entrepreneurship and you will see some funding opportunities inside the universities. I have so many people, but they
Mm-hmm.
just don't want to come out here to tell their story, because sometimes I've also noticed that some people are very funny. Sometimes they have a success story, but they don't want to share. I don't know why. You need to share and tell people how you did
Yeah.
it so that other people
We're
can learn from you and do
learning.
it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so there are lots of hidden scholarships. So please ensure that you do your research, because this
Research.
knowledge is
Yes.
power, and it's not something that, oh, by
Yes.
just clicking you will see it. No, you actually have to actually take some effort and look,
Yeah.
click, go inside, check, read.
Mhm.
Like open your eyes and
Ask
read.
questions.
Yes,
Yes.
and ask questions, reach out to people. Don't be scared, because
Yes.
sometimes, like I
Yes.
said, it's unfortunate that you have people right, beside you and you don't ask certain questions. Or even right now with social media, you can just put something and people will respond. Like recently, someone
Respond.
someone someone talked to me about the fact that, oh, they started their school in UK, but they got a partial scholarship, and so they were wondering if maybe I know any foundation that can cover the rest. And of course, I know foundations that can cover the rest because I have done my research, right, when I was
Mm.
preparing. So, and I
Yeah.
told them, I just put it there, Black Hat Foundation. And immediately they went to check it and they were like, oh, wow. Because it's not something that, unless you really do your research, you'll not find it, right? But then again,
Exactly.
there are some
Yeah.
people that have done the work for you. Sometimes some even people have already drafted like list of scholarships for like for this year. They have written a lot, and you see it a lot on X. There's a lot of
Yeah.
information like that it's so easy
Mm.
to just get. So please just ensure that you do proper research. At this point, there
Yeah.
is no excuse. You can't say I didn't know.
This tough woman, you have come again with your very, firm approach.
No, it's true,
Okay.
because sometimes it's funny. Like even sometimes some evening prospective candidates will reach out to
Yes.
me and I'll tell them definitely apply. And they're like, okay, can you send me the link to Chevening? I'm like, Chevening, but you are the one that came to meet me so that you want to apply for Chevening. I said, okay, no problem, do apply.
Yeah.
I said, can you send me the? I'm like, I mean, just Google Chevening scholarship. And then when you put the country you want, Nigeria, you put it there. They will now give you all the
All
information that you need
information.
and a lot of
Come on.
resources, blogs. I mean,
Yeah.
some people have related their stories, people from different walks
Yeah.
of life.
Yeah. Yeah. And this masterclass too is also a resource now that is
Exactly.
accessible to everyone. And
Yeah.
that is part of our motivation in the hub and our community. And from everything you have said now, connects also to mentorship. People have gone ahead of you, they have the information, they have the experience, so you leverage on that. And we're very big on mentorship and coaching in the public health professionals hub. And so with everything Dr. Akinde has said now, if you need guidance, like one-on-one guidance, you need someone to hold your hands to the process, this kind of support service is available. And if that is what you need or what you want, you can reach out send a DM, and then we can, alongside you, work on, tailoring that personalized support for you. Dr. Akine is a very busy woman. I mean, reading her profile took almost half the time, half the time of this masterclass, but she's a very, 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 you know, inspiring achiever. And so, she can be very busy too. So if you need personalized one-on-one support, someone to hold your hands through the process, we can, arrange for that to happen. So reach out, send a DM, join our community, and enjoy more of this mentoring and coaching and guidance. And I think with this, we have come to the end of the masterclass. Is there still any other thing you would like to share with us before we go?
For me,
Or
no,
we're
but I
good?
do I do see questions from some of
Oh,
the
okay.
comments. So I'm seeing here
Audience.
question from
Okay.
Fumilayo. She's asking, do we need to get an admission first before applying for the scholarship? So the question is no, you don't. However, because there are certain interesting circumstances that can happen. Like I've seen some people that maybe they've applied and maybe unfortunately they didn't get achieving scholarship, but you do have the offer. So what you can do is you can defer, right? And then apply again for the achieving scholarship. And then if you do get it, then you already have your conditional offer in place. So that's like perfect. Because that's what happened to me. I applied the first time, right? So one of
Okay.
them was actually LSHTM, the others. So and I deferred. And so when I now
Oh,
got the scholarship, I now told them that these days, and
put
then
that
they
forward.
to yes, and then they just needed
Okay.
to I needed to submit my IELTS to make it unconditional. So that's how I
Okay.
got mine. So, but it's not that mine is how you should supposed to do it. But ideally, yeah, you should try and just ensure that you get it beforehand. It would be great.
Yeah.
But if you can't,
Yes.
do it as you concurrently as you are applying for the Chevening scholarship. Because, like I mentioned
Okay.
earlier, the most important thing is it will be so sad if you get the funding but you don't get the
Admission.
admission offer
Offer.
to study. I mean, you have wasted the whole year of such,
Ah.
hard work, resources, sleepless nights,
Mm.
sacrifices. No, 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 no. So I will
Okay.
advise that as you are applying for the scholarship, also apply to the school because it's even at the same time now. I mean, this is the time to actually
Yeah.
do it because it's not like the
Yeah.
American schools that they start from December. I mean, they start from certain
September.
times next year.
September into December. Okay. All right.
So
I hope
I
that
hope
has
that,
answered Madam
yeah,
Fumi's question. Okay.
yeah, I think
All
that's all. I
right.
don't think anyone else has asked anything, or maybe you should tell them to ask questions now.
Yeah, okay. So please, if you have a question, please put it in the comment section so that we can quickly address it before we wrap up this amazing career masterclass. And so again, with LinkedIn Live, the recording will always be accessible in the post, right? So whoever missed the live can always watch the replay, and then you can post in a comment or a question and we can answer that thereafter. So yes, I think we can work with that. So I want to thank everyone who has participated in this amazing interaction. Thank you so much, Dr. Akinde, for your time, for your openness, for sharing with us your very beautiful and inspiring journey. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
you're
we
welcome.
want
I just realized something. When you
okay.
asked me that, do I want to say anything again? I just realized that we didn't really discuss the essay questions, but since nobody asked, then I'm not going to because I thought maybe
Yeah.
somebody wanted like a bit of more.
What are the
um
questions like?
but maybe because
Yeah.
at least from the people we have here, I'm not sure maybe
Mm.
they have written essays yet. But just like you said, if you do have or you something, you can just send a DM
Reach
and
out,
then
send it
respond.
in. You can now do that personalized one-on-one support. Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for talking about that too. All right.
Mm.
So we want to thank you very much for your time, for giving so much, sharing so much information. And I believe that this will help somebody's career, somebody's future, somebody's journey. And I look forward to having a Chevening scholar in our community. You're a friend of our community, but would like to have a Chevening scholar from our community
Yes,
based on,
yes. Fingers
yeah.
crossed. I'm sure we are going to
Amen.
have. Amen.
Yes, based on all the information that you have shared with us. So thank you so much for
Welcome.
giving, yes, a lot of information. And thank you to our viewers too for spending part of your Sunday with us. And we look forward to hosting another wonderful masterclass. Thank you for being part of the community, for you know, supporting uh, the Public Health Professionals Hub. And I look forward to many more people joining the community and know, having more insights into how they can advance their public health career. So thank you very much for
Look
listening
at
to
these
us.
people. Look at these people. Now they are sending messages, Dr. Lukemi. They are funny, oh. But let me just quickly respond. Because somebody is saying they
Okay.
cannot reach me. Oh. They said, how can we reach out to Dr. Kid? I've been trying to reach her via LinkedIn. All to no avail because I'm not on the premium package. Thanks for the I'm not on the premium package either. So you should be able to send
Yeah,
me the message. My DM is always open. So please, my
exactly.
LinkedIn or my
Yeah.
other social media accounts, please.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
very eager
I
to
will post, yeah, I will post the what do you call it now? How to join our community. So if you join the community, send me a message. We'll be able to link you up with the session with Dr. Kinde, and then we'll be able to answer your personalized questions one on one from there. But you can still try again to connect with her on LinkedIn. She's very accessible. We still talked about that
very
yesterday. She's very
accessible.
accessible, yeah, very reachable. But because she's very busy, we have a personalized one-on-one coaching that she can do. But just if you can't reach her, reach me, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, but there's no way they
So,
will not reach me because I mean, it's
yeah,
very easy to reach me. As I'm shocked when I saw that comment.
yeah.
Okay, so
So you
let me
can
just
use either of the two links to join the
hmm,
community.
yeah. So let me just
Yeah,
quickly mention something because they asked that question regarding the networking and
leadership.
leadership. Yeah. Yeah. So for the leadership, okay, the good thing about this year's Chevening application is that the questions are very straightforward. All right, they've already asked you because before it was to be like, give us an example of a time when you exhibited leadership skills, something like that. Now they have told you describe situation, describe what you did, what was the impact, and one other thing I can't remember that I saw. So you see, they've already broken it down for you. So yours is just, and it's 300 words because before it used to be 500 words. So it's very simple. You don't define leadership. I know a lot of people they start with by defining leadership. Don't define leadership. Just go straight to the point. While serving, right, somewhere, you observed a problem, right? And based on this observation, this what you saw. Maybe children were dying from diarrhea, or some women did not have access to certain healthcare services, something of that. So you have established a problem. So after you've done that, you now talk about the action that you took. And so please ensure that you say I, don't say we, because I'll say a lot of times that because it's part of a team work where you when you work with a team you always say we did this, we did that. But this application, this essay is about you and your leadership. So ensure that you say I. So I mobilized, I led, I assembled, right? Those are the kind of action verbs that you should be using to showcase your leadership. And so after you've said what you did to address that problem, then you now talk about the results. And don't forget, when you're talking about results, it has to be measurable. So you can't just say, oh, and the program was successful. How do we know that it was successful? How many people did it reach? Right? What type of services did you provide? How did it improve, for example, knowledge? If for example, maybe you gave a health talk, right? How did it improve the knowledge? By what percentage? It's not just to say, oh, I taught 50 students on this hand hygiene. We need to know what was the increment in knowledge. So you need to be very clear about that. And so that's basically it. Problem, action, result, or STAR, situation, task, action, result. So you need to
Yeah.
showcase it in your write-up like that. Paragraph 1, situation. Paragraph 2, action. Paragraph 3, task. Paragraph 4, result. And then of course ensure that you
Yes.
link it to Chevening, because you need to always say that, oh, and these are the type of skills that you want to showcase during your evening year or something. And then for networking, I've seen a lot of times that people don't understand sometimes what networking means, right? So the networking, they're asking you specific questions too. Tell us how you met somebody, how you build the relationship, and what was the outcome, right? So that also follows the star approach as well. You need to be able to tell us that, oh, what was the context? How did you meet this person? What was the action that you took, right? That, oh, I introduced myself, right? I did this, I did that, and then as a result, this is what you worked on. Maybe you collaborated together, or maybe the person gave you an opportunity to speak somewhere, and as a result of your as a result of your facilitation, maybe you facilitated a workshop or you gave a speech or something. This is the number of people that benefited from your action, right? Or maybe, for example, you conducted a social media campaign with the help of that person or something. And so you talk about your results as well. So there has to be a measurable outcome of that relationship. And then of course you need to say again that, oh, you intend to use these networking skills, right? In during your Chevening year. This is what you're going to do to build relationships with other Chevening alumni, both locally and globally. Okay, so you just need to ensure that you follow that, because they've already given you the question. So you just need to answer them and make sure that it's organized. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4. And of course, the last paragraph, which will be just the connection between your skills and Chevening community. So that's basically how you respond to that question. So please ensure that you also look at the resources. There are a lot of free samples of essays so you can understand the structure better, right? Although I do understand that because
Understand
when
the
you
structure, not copy and paste. Please,
yes, understand the
audience,
structure.
listen to what Dr. Casey said. Understand the structure, not copy and paste.
Yes,
Yes,
so
because
yes,
that might even disqualify someone. So
mm-hmm,
please do the right thing.
yeah,
Just do the
and
structure
yes,
and
and if you
your
just
own story. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And if you decide to use AI, just know that Chevening has their own software to actually check if AI was it was AI that generated your
Thank you
story.
for
So
saying
please,
this.
oh, do not use AI to generate your story. I've already seen some cases, and I'm telling you that it did not go well. It did not go well. It did not go well. I mean, it just wasn't good for them, because in the end it was actually seen. So please, you write by yourself, all right? Just follow the structure. It's not difficult. Use the action verbs. If you don't know the action verbs, go and put it on Google. Action verbs for leadership, then action verbs for networking. Action verbs for networking, like I collaborated, with people. Yeah, collaboration mostly, like you see a lot of that. So just look at those type of action verbs that are used in each, and you'll be fine. And then for the other aspect, the study in the UK, I think that one is straightforward. Just understand that, oh, this is your university that you want to study, so you need to go to the university website, check out
Website.
the modules that your course is giving, because it's not enough to say, oh, I want to attend this university because it's second, I mean, it's one of the best in the world. That's a generic answer. Everybody else will say it. There's something that
Mm.
really stood out to you, the reason why you're actually applying for to that school, right? So you need
Yeah.
to really showcase it. So maybe it's a professor you would want to be working with, who maybe happens to be Nigerian, or who happens to you. Maybe the area of work he has been doing is something that you connect with, right? Or it might be the library. Maybe they have one of the best library, or maybe they have one of the best labs in the world. So you want to be part of that life changing, you know, discovery
Experience.
or something of that
Yeah.
nature, exactly. Or maybe it's close to a particular area that you know it has a lot of networking opportunities, you know, wherever. But the fact is, you need to find your own reason, and it has to be your own. It cannot be AI cannot generate it for you. So you definitely have to brainstorm on your own. And then the last question about your career plan. So this is very important. It's one of the questions that actually made me fail the first time, because I myself I didn't see how my career is going to look like after I finish my masters. At that time, I was like, okay, I just need to do masters. Okay, that's all, right? So
Hmm.
now you have to understand.
Guys,
Okay,
see why you need a career coach. I'm right here. If you need a career coach, this is very important, especially for young people. They don't even, if you look at your career journey now, I'm sure in when you were med school and if they had shown you like a crystal ball and say, oh, Dr. Akinde, in 10 years' time, this is what you'll be doing, I'm sure you'll be like, are you sure you're talking about me?
I'm
Right?
telling you.
Yeah, but see how your journey has played out. Same thing. I was still telling, someone very close to me today that if they had told me 10 or 15 years ago that this is what I'll be doing now, I'll be like, really, are you talking about me? But at that time there was nothing like career coach or mentoring or guidance. Everybody was just experimenting. But based
Hmm.
on that knowledge that we have now about the fact that the career path is a journey, and many times if you have somebody that has gone on that journey ahead of you, they might give you insights that will save you time, energy, resources, and accelerate your journey, right? So this thing you're saying is very, very important.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, exactly. And so you need to understand how your career is going to span out. And so you need to have it like at least a visual of where you're going to be by the time you come back to your home country, where you're going to be, say, in the next 3 to 5 years, and ultimately where you will be in the next 10 years. And whatever plan you come
Hmm.
up with, it needs to be ambitious enough, because you can't say that, oh, in 10 years' time, you just maybe start an NGO and that's the end. People, the Chibni community will be wondering that, so they invested, over £20,000 in you just for you to set up your own NGO and that's the end, right? So you're only making local impact. No, I will invested such a large amount of money in you so that you can make global impact. So you need to think global rather than local. So that's it. And I think there's one more question, one last one. Let's just quickly respond before we go. The question here is, I'm interested in a new field called innovation management, and I come from a grants and partnership background. Would it affect my chances? So, like I mentioned, you read the eligibility. If you have any university qualification, that makes you eligible. So the only thing is that if you're trying to change your career, right, switch careers, what you need to ensure before you apply is that you have experience to back it up, because it doesn't make sense if, for example, you have studied, I mean, you studied something. Let's say, for example, maybe you studied economics, right? And then you want to apply for a master's in, say, let me see, maybe that's not a good example. Let's say biochemistry, right? Maybe you studied biochemistry, right? And then you want to apply to education, right? Maybe masters in education. You can definitely do that, but you need to ensure that, oh, you have some work experiences that showcases that you've actually been doing work in education. Because if they want to consider you, they will say, okay, oh, you studied
What
biochemistry.
connection?
That's
Yeah.
but what's the connection between what you want to study now, which is masters in education or maybe international development, and so you need to have some experience. So though you have
Mm.
experience in grants and partnership, and you now want
Yeah.
to do innovation management, just ensure that there is a connection when you are writing your personal statements and everything
Yeah.
else. You have something in your CV that backs it up. Because
Yeah.
if it is not there, right, and also in your references, The references,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, are very important. Everything must connect. Everything must be
Connect.
holistic. Yeah, because if there's some disconnect, your application will be tossed out because it doesn't make sense. So just ensure that it aligns.
Aligns and connects. Wow. I think that is a very fantastic place to end this masterclass. I see that it has been very impactful for people. They've said they've learned lots. They said the session. Thank you for the session. I've learned a lot, and giving answers. Someone says, "Thank you so much, Dr. Casey," and we're
You're
really
welcome.
grateful. Yeah, so we appreciate you so much. Thank you to our audience for engaging, and for those who will watch the replay. Our DMs are open, and we'll be happy to hear from you. So this has been a very lovely masterclass with Dr. Cassandra Akinde, chosen for Chevening. And we're hoping we'll be getting some Chevening
More,
scholars
more.
in another few months. And in the next application cycle, the Lord keeping us all. So thank you everyone for participating, and please stay tuned for more master classes to come with very inspiring resource persons who are committed to working with us to helping us advance our public health and global health careers. Till I come your way again with another masterclass, please keep an eye on our LinkedIn um, platform, and follow, share, and repost this masterclass recording so that more people can see it. And stay tuned for more career advancing, career value adding tips, information, and guidance. Thank you, everyone. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a beautiful week ahead, a lovely new month loading. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.